Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing. Back with another video, man. I'm in the house with my man CDK. We about to talk about one of the greatest to ever do it, George Foreman, man. Talk a little bit about it earlier, but we will get a little more in depth on it. Um, so what would you say about George, man? How good is George in your opinion, man?
Man, if you think about it, George Foreman had 81 fights, a total of 81 fights now, 76 wins, 5 losses, and 68 of them was KOs, knockouts. You think about this, George Foreman started boxing, I believe, if I got it right now, in 1967, and he ended up his last year of boxing was in 1997. Man, longevity. Ring had George Foreman ranked as the ninth best puncher of all time. I'm trying to think of 9 people that I would put ahead of George Foreman. You know what I'm saying? When you think about power, George Foreman, man, he personified that. But he also changed his life, you know what I'm saying? And George Foreman went on to do great things outside of the ring. He sold the George Foreman grill, the name right, for $138 million. I can't remember the exact year, but I do remember him, you know what I'm saying, selling the George Foreman grill for
Yeah,
$138 million, man. That's a lot of money. George
yeah,
Foreman, you know what I'm saying? You know, like I said before, you think about George back in the days when Ali, was doing his thing. George Foreman didn't do a lot of talking, so we didn't know he had that type of personality, man. We didn't know what to expect from George, and maybe through years and and watching some of Ali, it might have rubbed off on him because George became a real big character, man, and everybody loved him, man. That's the thing I think about with George Foreman. But he is on my, I got a Mount Rushmore of heavyweight champions, and my list is Ali, you know what I'm saying? Joe Frazier, George Foreman, and some people that might not like this one, but Lennox Lewis. That is my top 4 heavyweights of all time, right there.
yeah. I mean, I would disagree a little bit. I would have to put Sam Lanford up there.
Love
Um,
him.
and then I would have to put Muhammad, Joe Lewis, and you know, for me, Jack Dempsey. But that's just me. That's just my
Yeah,
four. Um, but no one's wrong because I think Foreman's a little underrated. One thing about Foreman, he really did. He did come back at 30 plus years old and was able to do some big things in boxing. So I think it worked out for him. But for me, I would say he left a lot of meat on the bone when you think about what he could have been. We're talking about a guy who had the size, the skill. We don't give George enough credit. Archie Moore put a lot of skill into him. Our people remember when George would cross his arms in defense, it was almost impossible to hit him. So I mean, it's just one of them things where some of George's skills are underrated because we had never seen it before. But
yeah,
I
definitely.
can't disagree with you. I mean, he's up there though.
Yeah, you think
But I
about what
just
he did though.
go
Not
ahead.
cutting you off. He came in 1994 at the age of, 45 years old. He became the unified WBA, IBF, and lineal heavyweight champion when he knocked out Michael Moore. Man, that's a big feat at 45 years old. And I think Bernard Hopkins ended up being an older champion, but he is the oldest heavyweight champion in history of boxing.
Yeah, that'll never be duplicated. So if that stands for anything, no one will ever do that again. So I mean, but I don't know. I really hold it against George that he left so early off frustration. And I just feel like George left too much meat on the bone for me to put him any higher than like maybe sixth or fifth as a great heavyweight. That's just my opinion. But
Yeah,
he's in the top 10. He's just for me, I just feel like we got some guys who really, I mean, Jack Dempsey didn't quit. Jack Dempsey lost a lot of fights, a lot of tough fights. Sam Blanford fought with one eye at one time. I don't know if people know that. He was fighting with one eye for a lot of his career once he got beat. I would even say Gene Tunney did a little bit more as far as the longevity goes than George. So I mean, that's my only thing. I feel like George didn't have any longevity. I feel like George stopped, started, stopped, started. I don't know. I just hold that against him. That's just I'm peers, forgive me.
Yeah, the thing I'm gonna say about that is this. I can't say where George's mind was, but we know when you're dealing with mental health, I think it had a lot to do with things outside of the ring too, and George just not being happy is reason for him leaving boxing because we know the talent is there. You don't come back at 45 years old and become world champion if it's not. So that's just a testament to George. But would we have gotten the same George had he not done that? Would he be so revered? Who's to say? You know what I'm saying? Because you take a look at what he was able to do and accomplish. I think he needed to walk away from boxing to find who he really wanted to be. I think it helped him in the long run. It took him 10 years to come back. That's a long time to be away from boxing. So, how many people that can stay gone 10 years, come back and become world champion, man? That's unheard of. I don't think anybody else could do that.
I just I just don't I maybe I could be wrong. I just when I look at George, I feel like I don't think there's many guys who were more um I don't think there's many guys that were more talented than George either. George was special, man, in every sense of the word. Physically, I don't think anyone can match him physically. So
Right.
that's my only thing. It's kind of hard to say a guy who had everything. It's kind of hard to give him credit for that. I'm just being honest. I'm sorry, man. Can't give him credit for being having. He had it all, man.
Hey, and you know
George,
what,
George had
BVO?
everything you wanted in a fighter. George was big. He was strong. He was agile. George was like a dancing bear almost. If you think about it, George was defensively. He was very sound. People forget about, like I'm saying, his cross with his arms. He just was
Yeah,
special.
that was
He was a
different,
special
man.
breed, man. He was special in the ring. I just think you got to hold it against him that he wasn't very mentally tough, man, because there's no way on God's beautiful green earth that Muhammad Ali had a chance against him. There's no way.
Man, Ali was special though. But I was looking back at George's amateur career and on his run to winning the Olympic gold medal in 1968. And the round of 16, he won that on point 4-1. But then the next round, the quarterfinal, the referee stopped the contest in the third round. Then the semifinals was a second round knockout, and in the final, the referee stopped the contest again in the second round. We see a lot of amateur boxing is usually 1-on points. Man, George was taking them out of there as an amateur. He was knocking people out. Can you hear me, BBO?
Yeah, I can hear you. I
Okay,
mean,
okay, yeah,
that to me, I get what you're saying. I just, it's kind of tough, man. The dude had everything. It's almost like when Shaq didn't would get foul calls because he was so dominant. I mean, George physically, if you ever want to see a wonder, look at George Foreman when he was young, punch that heavy bag. The way he would manipulate a 100 to 80 pound bag, punching it like it was like nothing. I mean, George is one of those guys, man. Every punch came with damage. Shannon the Cannon Briggs had a great. He was on a show called Math Hoffa, and he basically said when George hit him, he couldn't breathe for 2 weeks. And he said George was older when he fought Shannon Briggs, and he said, the way George was punching him, he said he thought George was trying to knock something out of him. People forget George Foreman killed a bull. He unalived a bull because he punched the bull so hard. So just imagine how hard he was punching people. We all know about the quote about him saying, "Hey man, I was trying to, Ali was trying to have a boxing match. I was trying to unalive that guy." I mean, come on, man. When a guy say something like that from a
man.
punch, I mean, he was a monster, man. He dude was a monster.
And BBO, this is the thing people don't really realize.
Salute to my
George
brother
Foreman
Josh
only
pulling
had
up.
okay, he only had 20 amateur fights going into the Olympics. 20 amateur fights is not a lot of experience when you think about that. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of fights. One of the people that George Foreman, really holds in high regard was Sonny Liston. A lot of people don't know it, but he sparred Sonny Liston on two different occasions. And George Foreman said Sonny Liston was the only person that he ever backed up against that really had him backing up. So that he said Sonny Liston had that type of power.
Yeah. If you remember when he fought Muhammad, Cassius Clay back then. That was the thing that made Cassius so special because Cassius was the first man to kind of take Sonny's power. Because remember, Pretty Boy Floyd Patterson, that was the thing. Custom Model didn't believe that he could take Liston's power. And when Liston, I think he sparred him in San Francisco. If I'm correct, I could be wrong, but I remember when George sparred him, George learned a lot about himself because he patterned a lot of his game after Sonny. And then, in his comeback, he said he patterned himself after Ali in the back. So this was one of those things where, George was just a special guy and he had everything. He had everything you would want in a fighter. He really did. He was everything.
Yeah, against in the Frazier fight, he went into that fight as a 3-1 underdog. You know what I'm saying? Nobody thought, even though he had everything, he had size, reach, everything. He was not expected to beat Frazier. You know what I'm saying? He was a 3-1 underdog, and we seen what happened, man. He got Frazier out there in the second round. I mean, a lot of people, my dad, said, he was shocked because my dad, he's 74 years old. He told me, he said, man, he didn't see no way, no how that George Foreman was gonna beat Frazier. And I think I couldn't understand that because I think going into that fight, I think Foreman was like 32-0 then with 29 knockouts, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and see, and we forget about how good Joe Frazier is because Joe Frazier's whole legacy is tied to Muhammad. We forget how good he is, but I'll tell you right now, man, um, Joe Frazier was a terrific talent, but he was a really itty bitty guy. He was only 5'10". And one thing about George Foreman, he's like me. He's a full 6'5". A 5'10" man, unless he, packing something not man made, he gonna get beat to death by a guy that size. And then you got George punching down, and it's funny to me. One of the things that people don't even realize: the two toughest opponents of Muhammad Ali's life, George beat to death. He beat Ken Norton. He almost beat Ken Norton dead. Then he
Yeah,
beat, and then he made Joe Frazier run from him. People forget that he
yeah,
turned his back and ran from George.
yeah.
I
He did,
mean,
man.
people forget that, bro. The brother turned his back and tried to get out of there. I mean, so, and them was both guys that gave Ali hell. So that's why Styles don't. That's why the triangle theory doesn't work. And I'm telling you, George Foreman. I'm gonna tell you how good George Foreman was. You know why Mike Tyson didn't fight George Foreman back in the day? Because Custom Model told him back when he was growing up, "You never fight George. George will destroy you. Never fight George." And
I would have loved to have seen that fight. I did hear George Foreman say that one was scared and the other was glad. You know what I'm saying? Because he had a lot of respect for Mike Tyson, and I think it had more to do with the theory of styles make fights. I think styles do make fights. I think Ali style was better suited for George Foreman for what he was able to do to be able to move, dance, the defense, all of that played a part in being able to beat George Foreman by tiring him out. And if you really go back and watch that fight, like a lot of people act like that George Foreman was just beating Ali to death, through the whole fight. But if you watch that fight, man, Ali was having great rounds, all the way through the fight. I watched that fight probably 20 times, and I never can understand when people say like as if Ali just laid on the ropes every round and went throwing punches back. You know what I'm saying? That's how they try to make it seem. But now Ali was having great rounds. And I think his style is what hurt George Foreman more than anything. Frazier was to me was he was tailor made for Foreman, as we can see. Ken Norton, we seen what he done to Ken Norton, man. That's what I tell people all the time, man. George Foreman will always be one of my top four heavyweights, regardless of whatever any era. And like we got the Jack Dempsey's, like you said, and the Joe Lewis's, but there was a different era, and I just nothing, not taking nothing away from those greats because they were great. I just don't feel. I think the Ali era of boxing heavyweights, man, is probably in my mind the greatest era of heavyweight boxing ever with Foreman now.
yeah, I mean, the funny thing about George, um, is I get what you're saying because I think he would beat my guy Joe Lewis because Joe Lewis was small. And one thing we know, if you're small, George is going to beat you to death. But I just think when it comes to George, You gotta hold it against him, man. He let a guy who had no chance and on God's beautiful earth for beat him to death. I mean, I know my man CDK is a wonderful brother. He's a great commentator. Um, but I just think he missing the fact that George didn't want it bad enough, and I gotta hold that against him.
No, no, I kind of agree with you on that. But let me say this right here because I love reading the comments and I like always, involving everybody in the topic or whatever. And
Oh, for sure.
1 second. I think Josh Sanders said he feels like Tyson's style back then would have been all wrong for George Foreman in his in his opinion. What do you think about that?
I get what you're saying, but you gotta remember, Josh, that Mike Tyson and Joe Louis are the exact same fighter. Um, the only difference is you would say
Joe,
Mike was a little more skilled, but you see what happened when he got in there with Big George.
you said Joe Lewis, you mean Frazier.
I mean, sorry, Joe Frazier. I meant to say Frazier. Sorry, Joe Frazier. Joe
Yeah,
Frazier,
yeah,
Mike Tyson are the same fighter. One was right-handed, one was left-handed.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
think that style wouldn't have never beat a George Foreman.
But let me ask you this: do you feel like Mike Tyson? I feel like that Mike Tyson was Joe Frazier 2.0. That's how I look
Yes,
at it. Prime Mike
he
Tyson.
had no chance. Let's just be real. He had no chance then.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just would have loved to seen it. It's like I tell people all the time when people don't like to hear this theory of mine. When I go on a rant about Mike Tyson would have been all wrong for Ali because Ali struggled against Joe Frazier, and that's what I always gauged it off of.
And you know what? You absolutely are right. That would be a tough fight. If you're talking about the Mike Tyson, if Mike Tyson had cuss,
Yeah,
that's different. That's different. But those other bump trainers he had, I don't know.
yeah,
So
definitely.
he had cuss because people don't notice. Mike Tyson was created to kind of counteract Muhammad Ali. His style was made to be exciting. His style was made to be action packed, and that was on purpose. That was on purpose. I mean, a lot of people don't remember Pretty Boy Floyd Patterson, who kind of was the first guy doing that peekaboo style. That style was made for action. I mean, that style was a fan favorite. And to be honest with you, you got a good point. I don't know if he would beat Ali, but it would have been a heck of a fight. I'll tell you that right now. It would have been a heck
Yeah, it
of a
would have been
fight.
it would have been a great fight. We know it's something that we could have never seen, but I always think about that. And I like you said, styles make fights. And for some reason, Ali he struggled against that style. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Ali looked way better against Foreman than he did to me. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion,
He
against
never
Frazier.
looked that good against Joe.
Yeah, people don't like to say that. You know what I'm saying? Just like with the Ken Norton. I mean, if you think about Ali and Ken Norton in the way that Foreman was able to do Ken Norton, a lot of people feel like Ali lost to Ken Norton.
Hey, he lost 3 times. He lost 3 times, CDK.
Yeah, I know you always said it too. You say he lost 3 times to him.
Yeah.
Man,
I
you
mean,
know, mm,
we gotta say the truth, don't we?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you know
I
I
can't,
love
I, I,
Muhammad, man. That's my guy.
I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you on it, man. I love Ali too. Yeah, I feel like he did lose to Ken Norton as well. You know what I'm saying?
It was all politics, man. People don't even realize they tried to steal the second fight from him. Because remember, he had lost to Ken Norton right when he fought George Foreman. They tried to steal that fight from him. Man, boxing is a dirty game. They tried to steal the fight from it. They tried to steal that fight from Ken Norton. They only gave him them two, the one fight they gave him just because he destroyed him that fight. But first, second, third fight, especially the third fight, which is a sleeper, man, Ken Norton beat the brakes off Ali, and they act like they couldn't remember that. But then you give it to Spinks, which is crazy. But you give it to Leon, but you won't give it to my man Ken Norton. That's boxing is a joke sometimes, dog.
And this is something that a lot of people have never talked about. I don't hear people talk about, but it was a reflection from Foreman, and they was talking about. He said against Ali, it just wasn't his night. But they said Foreman later claimed he was drugged by his trainer prior to the bout. What do you think about that?
That he was drugged by his trainer.
Yeah,
Um, I heard that, but I mean, Muhammad is Muhammad, man. It's just that simple, bro. You
Yeah,
get other
definitely.
guys, man. Is Muhammad's one of them guys, man, who God chose, and
That's it.
you kept seeing that God that was one of God's guys because he kept
You
winning
know,
fights he had winning. So
some BBO you was talking about, holding something against Foreman, but Foreman tried to get a rematch with Ali immediately after that and wasn't able to do that. Do you think that loss kind of pushed him out of boxing, like kind of really just messed with him?
no, I think the thing that George had that a lot of us have, George grew up very very poor, and he didn't have. Let's be honest, he didn't really have anybody to help him through those struggles, and mental health was one of them things where we take it too lightly at times, and I think George should have been talking to somebody. But thank God, God is good, man. Jesus will do stuff for you that nobody can do. And in my opinion, you go to Philippians 3 and 13, man, you can pick your own journey, but it's God's choice. I think
Yep.
God had a different choice for George because I feel like George did greater things outside the ring than he ever could have did in the ring, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you. And I was gonna ask Josh, how long ago did he watch that Ali and George Foreman fight? I want you to go if you do get opportunity to watch it. Let me know how many of those rounds you gave to Ali early, and because I tell people all the time to really break that fight down round for round and tell me how do you have it scored up until that moment when Ali was able to get Foreman out of there.
Yo, what's going on? We got one of my favorite boxing experts on today, man. One of the guys actually fell in love with his channel because of his commentary on boxing. My man Scholar. Hey Scholar, what do you think about the great George Foreman, man?
Give me like five.
Okay. Well, he gonna come back. I just say when it comes to George, you know what I will say though? When George did that little that 5 fights in one night, he was a cold piece, man. Oh my bad, CK. Hey, when he did those 5 fights in one night, I don't care what nobody say. George a bad boy, man.
Bad boy.
I mean, but let me ask you this though: do you think George Foreman is Evander Holyfield's best win?
Oh man, I never thought about that. Oh man, well, he also faced a young Riddick Bowe.
Way better than Riddick Bowe. I'll tell you
I'm
that.
saying, I'm saying he faced a young Riddick Bowe though. I don't know if George could have beat a young Riddick Bowe at 45. I hold Riddick Bowe in high regard when he was in his prime and or whatever. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? He caught George later on, you know, in his career. So that's hard. It's hard for me to say if that's his best win or not. I've never really thought about it. I would have to really just go back, take the time out, and think about that. But Riddick Bowe was a very big win for Evander Holyfield as well.
But if you think about it, Riddick Bowe had his fights. I believe he only had one other loss. But if you just think about Evander, I can't think of anybody other than George Foreman that was better than George Foreman. Tyson wasn't better than him. Bowe wasn't better than him. Um,
Do you think that? Let me ask you a question. I'm not cutting you. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you think that at 45, the Riddick Bowe we seen beat Holyfield, that George Foreman could have beat Riddick Bowe. That's what I'm
Absolutely,
asking. I don't,
absolutely.
I don't,
Because he would have
I don't, I
stood in
don't
front
think,
of him.
I don't think so. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't think that he could have. We seen George Foreman and I think Tommy Morrison. We seen George Foreman how he looked at times against the elite level fighters when he came back. Michael Moore was a small heavyweight, you know what I'm saying, moving up from cruiserweight, and we seen what happened to him. But Riddick Bowe would have been a whole different problem for Foreman, I believe.
I feel you, but they the same size, brother.
No, Foreman's actually 6'3". I was gonna tell you that he's actually 6'3".
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I always thought he was 6'5".
No, he's 6'3" and maybe 6'3" and some change. He's 6'3". That's what they got him listed at. Everywhere I've ever seen, he's 6'3".
BVO, you must be out your goddamn mind if you think Mike Tyson can't whoop George Foreman.
You a nut. You a nut, man.
He was better than Cassius Clay. He was better than what that pit bull. Nah, real shit though.
Oh, yeah, and
George
the white,
Foreman probably the
that's a
second
good
best
thing.
heavyweight of all time.
Hey,
You said what?
I can't. I can't disagree with that. Like I said, he's on my Mount Rushmore. My top four heavyweights of all time. I said that at the beginning. What I'm saying? That's how much I think of George Foreman. Put it that way. I think George Foreman, man. Like I said, Ali Foreman. A lot of people don't like it, but Lennox Lewis and Joe Frazier. Those my top four. That's my list. Everybody entitled to their own list, but that's how I see mine.
Yeah, I feel you, but you know what? For me, the fact that Lennox lost to Outlaw McCall, I I I, I can't put him up there, man.
Let me ask you a question though. Every person that Lennox Lewis lost to, did he come back and get that?
But let me ask you this: Did he take a nap in the middle of the ring twice?
Yeah, it happens. It's
That
heavyweight
is
boxing.
hilarious. So
Yeah,
look, I agree. I agree with
it's he-
BBO. How
yeah,
you
it's
get
heavyweight
knocked out
boxing.
by how you get knocked out by people that ain't even the top 50 hard punchers of all time in heavyweight?
Just being a heavyweight. It don't take a lot of pressure to knock a man out. You don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? It's not hard to knock nobody out. So there's not, being a heavyweight. Any heavyweight is capable of knocking you out.
And
Any
you know what?
heavyweight.
That's true. But how many knocked out Muhammad Ali?
That's Ali. We just said Ali's special. He's my favorite all time.
Well,
You get
shit, how
no
many
argument.
knocked out Foreman besides Ali?
You know what I'm saying? That's another one. He's on my Mount Rushmore.
That's what
You
I'm
get
trying to
no.
tell you. The special ones don't get knocked out. Lennox Lewis is
Uh,
the
that
only
ain't.
asterisk up there.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm gonna say it like this, because regardless of whatever, Lennox Lewis ain't coming off my top four list. It don't make no difference what you
I,
say. I know what I was.
I
I
see,
know
brother.
what.
I see
But
you standing down
I
10
respect
toes down.
your opinion. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. But I'm just saying this. From what I've seen, Lennox Lewis is all time great, and I'm saying on his best night, prime Lennox Lewis, put him in there with anybody. Anybody.
And he gonna be looking at the ceiling like he did with Oliver McCall.
I doubt that. I don't think you believe that. You might, but everybody got their own
Oh no.
opinion.
No, I definitely believe it. I remember watching Lennox Lewis growing up and they're like, this motherfucker is chinny. Fucking Henry Akumande hurt him. Fucking
Oh
Ray
yeah, he been hurt
Mercer
plenty
hurt him.
times. Yeah, he been hurt, but he still was a phenomenal fighter.
He's you know what? He a tank. He just a glass tank.
Nah, you talking about Tank Davis?
No, I mean like a
Oh, okay. I
army
think you
tank.
talking about Tank. Yeah, I think you talking about Javante Tank Davis. My fault.
No, we
My
ain't talking
fault.
about that bum.
That's why I said that for. I know what you were saying. I just said that for BVO to get started. That's all it was. I knew what you were saying though.
But BBO, the man that just passed away, George Foreman,
Mhm.
we 1 in 1,000,000. Normally around a great person, there's a whole bunch of myths. Remember, fucking, Bo Jackson. Remember they said he threw up like some dirt clogs and killed some wild boar or something
Yeah,
like that. Like
Yeah.
like that he ran a 4-1 and he was just so like they made it sound like he was Paul Bunyan. You know what I mean?
yeah, he
George
was.
Foreman is Paul Bunyan. This man, like, bro, I don't know if y'all seen the video. I reposted it back on the community tab the other day. Last video I dropped. George Foreman punched the lion.
Yeah, he owned Lions. Yeah, he used to own Lions.
I can believe it. I
You
can
know
believe
what happened was the lion he thought was going to take his brother's life, and he went in there with a lion, and they said the lion knew how dangerous George was too. So,
I don't know about that, but I know he probably
no,
said he
no,
punched
no,
like
they no. The lion knew that George was coming to take it out the game. I
Yeah,
don't
they
think people
charged each other.
understand, man. We got dominion over them animals, dog.
Nah, I know
No,
that.
no, ain't
But
no we. George got dominion. You can take your ass out there fucking with them lions if you want.
yeah, we not gonna. I ain't gonna
Go
be
ahead,
messing with
go
no
ahead,
lion.
Noah. Go ahead, Noah.
I
Let me
ain't
know
gonna
how to
do that,
find out. How
BBO.
it turns out, Noah.
I ain't gonna do that right there. I ain't gonna mess around with no lion. I ain't gonna take my chances, BBO. I'm not. I can't do that. You know what
He
I'm
said,
saying?
"I'm not."
The
Yeah.
man, George Foreman is great. But you know what? George Foreman had a stigma over his career that nobody really talk about. They looked at George Foreman like a coon. You didn't know that, did you, BVO?
Of course I did.
When he
You know,
won when he won the
flag
Olympic.
with
Yeah,
the
he had the
same
American flag in his hand, walking around with a little American flag in the ring, waving it around.
But that's
Uh,
the same. That's the same. Those Olympic guys, raised their fist in that Olympics in '68. But you know what? George wanted the people to know where he was from. He said that a million times. I just wanted people to know where I was from.
He was
Yeah,
lying. He was trying to be rebellious. He really was never really pro-black, and
No, he never was.
yeah, he knew what he was doing. George Foreman's a smart man. He could play that if he wants to. He was a very smart man.
yeah, he definitely was smart. We seen that.
I bought my man Scholar, but I bought him one for boxing analysis. Scholar, he's a goofball, but the brother knows boxing. But the thing you got to remember is this, though,
I ain't
Scholar.
gonna say that.
I don't know. I don't know of a guy who had a tougher life than George. We talking about a really tough life. The man came out of Job Corps, learned how to box, went to the Olympics from Job Corps. That's a heck of a transition, bro. He probably genuinely was grateful for what his country did for him, and it's no secret BVO loves this great nation as well. So I can't say
How did that work for him?
it worked out for him. He made millions and millions of
No, no,
dollars.
no, no, not the second career. How did that work for him? The first career, embracing the American flag.
Oh, it worked against him. Of course, it worked against him.
So they cheered the pro-black dude and wanted him to beat him and knock him out in Zaire.
They
Boom by
did.
yeah.
And you know what's so funny? And you know what's so funny about that? There is nobody that was more Madison Avenue than Muhammad Ali. There's nobody. There was no bigger darling. There was no man more loved than Muhammad Ali when it came to being a what do you call that? A crossover superstar. So isn't it funny how Ali played those people like a
What?
fiddle?
We're not for to do that, BBO. We're
So
not.
we
We not
gonna
gonna do that.
definitely
Yeah,
we gonna
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
We gonna,
Ali played those people. You know why Ali was beloved, BBO? It wasn't his smile. It wasn't because he told everybody he was the greatest. It was because Muhammad Ali was approachable to the people. Muhammad
Yeah.
Ali said Sugar Ray Leonard, excuse me, Sugar Ray Robinson denied him an autograph. That's why he would never refuse autographs. They said Ali's autograph, like his line would be wrapped around the corner. And he wouldn't leave until he signed everybody's autograph and took a
Yeah.
picture, brother. That's the guy that you talking about. Trick the people. He
Yeah,
was the people.
listen.
he
This
ain't
the
trick
thing.
nobody,
This the thing.
BBO.
This the thing. Now you can hit me with all these romantic stories about Ali if you want to. I know the real from reading about him. Been even blessed to meet his former wife, Miss Camacho.
Hold up. Did you meet him?
He was gone.
Okay, just getting clarity on this because somebody always got a story
He was
about
gone,
somebody else.
fool.
Right,
What you want me to
right.
do?
Did
I'm
you
just
meet
What you want
him?
saying,
me to do?
you setting the table like you done actually met him and he done denied you an autograph or some shit.
Yeah, I
No,
thought
no,
y'all
no.
had dinner.
That brother
When
cussing like
BBO
crazy.
talking, I thought they had dinner together.
Facts. He made it sound like Muhammad Ali. Look, BBO was like, listen, I don't know what Muhammad Ali ate, but I do know somebody that knows his chef. Man, if you don't get out of here with that,
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on. We're not gonna let my man Scholar hit us with his coonery, man. Salute the Scholar. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. When you think about Muhammad Ali, the thing that made Muhammad special because they can say what they want. The Kentucky Seven, Ali was already set. Ali is one of those guys who, no matter what he was going to do, was going to be fine. Ali went broke like 3 or 4 times. I'm telling you, they loved the man, even when he was the mouth of the South. They loved him then. Anytime you walking around with Jim Brown, Lou Alcindor, who was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar now, he was the guy.
but
He was the
BBO,
guy, bro.
why? Because that was the Black Power movement. He was a part of
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
When I say he was beloved, Sheldon, I'm talking about by his people. I'm not talking about by just Madison Avenue. Once he became Muhammad, they either loved him or hated him.
Sheldon say drop that link. Sheldon said let somebody who was around talk about him. Don't be scared, Uncle Sheldon. Sheldon,
Hold
he
on, hold
trying to
on,
cook
hold
you,
on, hold on.
BBO.
You want but nothing but 2-3 years old. Cut the
Oh,
game.
hold on. We're not gonna do that ageism, brother. We're
you
not
want
gonna do
nothing
that
but
ageism.
you want nothing but 2-3 years old. You might let the
No,
grown
that
boys
ain't
talk
true.
about it.
Because Sheldon the one, see, I know this for a fact. Sheldon the one that introduced Ali to Bodini Brown. You ain't know that, did you?
he met he met Bodini Brown at the crack house, man. Stop playing.
Hey, cut that out, BBO.
See, you see how he do Muhammad Ali? Bro, listen,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
cut
we
that out, man.
remembering George. See, and this is what you could never get away from, BVO.
What's that?
Muhammad Ali taught George Foreman how to be a man.
He did.
And what I mean by that is Muhammad Ali was a part of the Black Power movement. George
Mhm.
Foreman wanted to be different from that. He didn't want to associate himself with that. He wasn't an approachable person. He didn't even
Yeah.
really like people like that. He said that whenever he was going to school one day, he said that I think his sister came in the room or his mom came in the room and said, "Oh no, don't worry about it. You ain't gotta pretend. You ain't gotta pretend. You ain't gonna be nothing anyway." That's what they told him. So
Yeah.
I think he had a disdain towards black people. And then when he finally fought Muhammad Ali, everybody thought he was gonna destroy him. But not only did he not destroy him, but people in the Africans sided with Muhammad Ali and came up with a saying, "Boom Ali," not
Hey,
George Foreman
hey,
down.
so, and then this goes back, BVO. What he's saying basically goes back to what I was saying about how that loss really affected him.
Facts. That's facts, brother. That's facts. But to get even to get to the minutia of this, so George Foreman gets knocked out, which is insane, right? Because he definitely could have got up, but he couldn't. He could not beat Ali. He
Nah.
realized that Ali was more a man than what he thought he was. He thought it was going to be the easiest fight. He said every fight in his career he was never nervous. I mean, he was always nervous, but the Muhammad Ali fight he wasn't nervous, and it's like that's where you should have been the most nervous. Muhammad Ali was a bad man, but anyway, so George Foreman don't get up. He fights again and has a nervous breakdown. Well, he has a couple fights. He has the Ron Lau, which was my favorite fight of all time. Ron Lau
Yeah,
versus George Foreman is the one of the best fights I've ever seen on film.
it
That
is.
shit is crazy. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's what you want out of heavyweights right there. That type of fight, you know. And then he got beat by Jimmy Young, and then he
Yeah,
had a nervous breakdown in the ring. Then he went on a hiatus for 10 years where he was doing his ministry, and he ran out of money with his ministry, and then came back to boxing. When he
yeah.
came back, he was mirroring what he thought Muhammad Ali was to the people. An approachable guy who was lovable, humble, likes to clown, likes to joke. He reinvented himself based off of what he thought Muhammad Ali was that second time
I
around.
told you, BVO. I told you this.
I'm gonna tell you something.
What you say, BVO?
Let me go on to this real quick. Um, let's talk about George Foreman's psyche when he first came out. I can say this because I experienced this a little bit too. When you're growing up and you're poor, the people that you live with are usually going to look like you. So in his case, they were black, and I'm sure a lot of black people treated him very, very badly. And when you're poor, when you poor than the poor, you're gonna get treated really bad. And I think the thing that George probably felt was that blacks have always criticized me. And I could tell you what happens sometimes. Sometimes you run into some white people who will really boost your ego and make you feel good about yourself.
BBO, we're not
Hold on,
gonna do
hold on,
this.
hold on, bro. Hold on,
You
hold on.
giving people a pass for cooning,
Hold on,
BBO.
hold on,
Listen,
hold on, hold
if you
on.
want to be a
Hold on,
coon,
hold on,
BBO,
hold
just
on.
say that.
Hold on, man. Hold on. Put your step and fetch your shoes on. Put them to the side for 1 second. You can tap dance after I get done. But I'll say this: the thing that's so crazy about this is when you think about it, you meet these white people who are nice to you and treat you a certain way. You kind of almost have a disdain for your own race. Then that's kind of how you get the O.J. Simpsons of the world. That's how you
The
get the Big
BBOs of the
Lots. Hold
world.
on, hold on. What I'm saying is simple. Sometimes people get treated so bad by their own that they get a disdain for their own people. That's what happened to George. George was really an inexperienced person when he went out there because he hadn't did much. People don't realize George Foreman came from Job Corps. Muhammad Ali had been around the world, could write you a book about it already. Muhammad Ali was able to know what the was and wasn't to do. And let's not forget, Don King and Ali worked together the whole time for this fight. This fight was, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not gonna say it was heavily favored in anyone's direction. But I know from reading everything about Don King wanted Muhammad to win. Don King could have easily told George Foreman, don't bring no doggone German Shepherd. The people had just got
Bro,
free.
you ain't telling George Foreman nothing, bro.
But
Nobody's
listen to
telling
what I'm
George
saying.
Foreman
Listen to what I'm
anything, bro.
saying. I'm almost done, nephew. I promise. I think the thing I'm trying to get to say is I don't blame George for how he felt because man, your own people hurt you the worst. And if we being honest, hurt people hurt people. So George wanted to get back at people.
Bro,
Like Scholar had a good point. Scholar
did
had a
you just
point.
say hurt people hurt, man? If you don't get your
Get out of
millennial,
here, goofball. Listen. And the thing I love about George was that he understood that. He got himself some help and he realized that, hey, you know what? Everybody's not your enemy. People got to realize that you versus everybody feeling is not natural. That's not a natural thing. But go ahead, I'm done.
Go
thank
ahead.
God. OG, you want to add something to that? Because I can't take this hurt people, justifying cooning.
No,
Like, God damn, BBO.
I was gonna let you go. I'm gonna make it quick though. Uh, Everything I was saying earlier, BVO was confirmed. I told you that loss played a big part in George Foreman's decision. It was hard for him to deal with that being, and then the way people looked at him, and the love everybody had for Ali. I'm just gonna put it like that. That's what I was telling BVO earlier, and I'm glad somebody else confirmed that. Go ahead. That's all I want to say.
Sheldon said Ali had already been a pro BVO. If anything, he should have looked up to Muhammad Ali. He was
Yeah,
already in the movement. You know what I
Sheldon,
mean? They
right.
was already protesting the Olympics. He just didn't associate himself with niggas, and that's fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? But that second time around, he became really jolly. You know what I mean? He became Michael Jordan. Remember Michael Jordan said, "Republicans buy my shoe." That motherfucker was selling grills. He was on burgers. There's even look, check this out. This is how you know George Foreman understood marketing and reinvented himself. He didn't want to be the bully like character anymore. Two things that let me know this. Number one, when he was in a press conference with Michael Moore, there's a video of Teddy Atlas pushing him and yelling at him, bro. If he'd have did that to a young Foreman, reporters and everybody there would have been laid out, bro. Foreman did
Yeah.
not play that shit, bro. They said Foreman was in Fifth Ward going to collect shit with his bare hands. And I believe it, motherfucker punching lines and shit. So, you know what
Think
I mean?
about that.
Yeah, so I definitely believe it. So, but that let me know. And then when Riddick Bowe and Holyfield got in a fight, and Fan Man came over to, and they snatched Fan Man ass, and that crowd started commenced to whooping his, you know what I mean, whooping his ass. And then do you hear George, boys, don't do this, boys, don't do it, young man, don't do it. You're like George Foreman, what?
Yeah. BVO.
See, he didn't let it.
I'll say this though. Now,
Hold on,
and that's
BBO.
the funny thing. That's the
This a
funny thing
black only
about
panel, brother. This a black only panel. You got to leave now, brother.
the funny thing about Scholar, man. Scholar is the Bodini, is the Boondini of YouTube. So he's gonna give you a lot of clown stuff to laugh about. But the thing I'm telling you about when it comes to George Foreman is the man was a genius, was able to change his life. And I've been at the Fifth Ward in Houston, man. To come out of there, especially in the '60s,
You gone out, BVO.
See, that's God right there. That ain't nobody but God cutting his Wi-Fi out, cutting his God because he was finna say a lie. God know he was finna start lying, so God said, "You know what? Let me get this on." George Foreman did that. George Foreman was in heaven and he seen he was finna say some bullshit. Let me cut this mother BVO off. Talking about I'm up there cooning, trying to justify it. The fact of the matter is, George Foreman seen the bad man wasn't working for him. The not, I don't fuck with black people wasn't working for him. Especially you rocking an afro, brother. You know what I mean? You from the culture. You from us. You us. You know what I mean? He embraced that. You know what I mean? He knew what marketing was. He embraced all of that and reinvented himself.
Yeah.
It became a lovable person like Muhammad Ali. Matter of fact, if you go look at every documentary, Champions Forever, all these documentaries, what's the other one? Facing Ali. That's my favorite. I think that's the best boxing documentary ever invented. Facing Ali. If you go back and look at that, when George Foreman is talking about Muhammad Ali, he glowing. He realized like this man is great. He said if he can go back in time and do it all over again, he said he would have never been mean to Muhammad Ali. He would have actually been nice. He would have did the complete
Yeah.
opposite. He said because he felt like it made him stronger. You know what I mean? And then he talked about how there's only one Muhammad. He said there will never be another Muhammad. You see him talking in Muhammad Ali in really, really high guards. It ain't just because he beat him in the ring. It's because he realized who Muhammad Ali was and embraced it.
Right. He respected the man. He definitely respected the man, Ali was. BBO, I think you need to do something about that, man, Obamacare Wi-Fi you got.
Yeah, BBO, you need to do something about that.
hold on, y'all country bunkers, man. Y'all chill. My phone
You got a
died.
BBO, you got a Charleston white eye. You need to get that eye fixed too.
You know what's so
Man.
funny, man? As long as you got them bad legs for us, I would keep quiet. But I'll say this: no matter how it goes, man, I'm glad I got to see George Foreman fight on film. And on top of that, other than his longevity, man, being in question, George was great. He really was great. I'm gonna tell you how great he was because people got to remember Ali fought. He became the gold medalist in 1960. So George Foreman was two Olympic classes later than him, and he still was able to beat him. So for Ali to do that was amazing. For George to do what he did was amazing. But I'm telling you, his biggest legacy would be his family, man. Remember, we had seen George selling all his cars and say he want to put some money aside for his family. Now look, he going on to heaven and everything, but it's amazing, man. I just really appreciate what George did.
Yeah, he made
Feds right.
$138 million. He made $138 million off them grills. So he done great.
Oh yeah, he did more than great. Because hey, we never seen him work again.
Yeah, he done it right. But everything Scholar said was 100% facts when he said that George Foreman came back and reinvented himself. I
Yeah.
told you I felt like that's why he had to leave boxing, and I feel like BBO to the day that lost. That's why his mind wasn't right. Sometimes you got to do things, man, to get your mental back in place, and that's what he did.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
hey, great point, old school. Great point, old school. That's why I wanted to add. George Foreman was a behemoth of his man. Like, matter of fact, I don't know if y'all seen the picture. BVO, you should have had the picture queued up. See, that's all that cooning stuff. You should have had the picture queued up. George Foreman is carrying a cow on his fucking back, bro. Like casually. Like, that's why I
Hey
say he's
man,
the real
stop
life
cussing, man.
Paul
You
Bunyan.
got you cussing too
And
much.
then when George Foreman's old, you know how HBOs used to do the complete like breakdown, like showing like the history and stuff like that in the training camps. George Foreman is pulling a fucking mini truck with straps on his back. That bro,
Man,
when I say how they try to treat Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, these big guys, he was every bit of that. We will
yeah,
never again see a guy with that amount of speed, that amount of thud, like heavy hands. We'll never see that all in one guy. That dude is a beast. George Foreman could have played football easy and been a fucking a force defensive line. Like he's that type of freak athlete.
yeah. He could have done
Hey,
what he
Scott,
wanted
you
to
doing your
do.
thing, man. Give us a little bit less cussing, man. You going crazy. You going crazy.
I forgot. This the no cuss zone. I forgot all
Yep.
about
Welcome
that.
home. Welcome home. It is the no cuss zone.
Man, you need to get you a bleeper. Let's do some pre-record so you can blank it
Get
out
you a
like Jerry
bleeper.
Springer.
Hold on. What I'm gonna do is hit you in the head with the bleeper so you remember not to cuss. How about
See,
that?
see. Hey, it's always a coon trying to incite violence on another black man.
Hey, Jamaicans don't count, man. I'm FDA. I know you some type of Jamaican or something.
Yeah, there you go, spreading lies and propaganda. He must have got that
But
from Don King. Well, all you people from Ohio, all y'all know how to do is spread propaganda.
here you go. Hold on, man. Don King was a family man. I hate when you liars come up here and say
Don
anything
King
about him.
came with the
Don
champ and left
King
with the
was
champ.
a
You
man.
tell him
I
old
ain't even
school.
gonna say Don
No,
King
no,
was
tell
a
him old
pimp,
school.
a robber, a pimp, and everything else.
Whoa, hold on. CDK, a pimp.
A pimp.
He was married most of his life. What are you talking about?
He was pimping while
Bro,
he was
if you
married.
don't think Don King was out there, man, come on, BBO, you can't be that naive, brother.
Hey,
You know
man,
what,
I'm not gonna
man?
let you talk about Don.
Man, there's plenty of stories about Don King, and I ain't got nothing. I'm just telling the truth.
Well,
I've
let me
heard some
ask you this.
bad
Did you know
stories.
that? Let me ask you this. While y'all talking all this crazy stuff about our beloved brother Don King, because you guys, I see you guys don't like blacks, but do you guys
Really?
know Don
What you
King
say?
gave away shoes and clothes every year for 40 years straight in Cleveland?
He stole enough money out of him.
Yeah. That's public. That's PR. That's public appearance, man. He trying to maintain a good image amongst the people. But the fighters, they look at Don King how they look at Don King because he done robbed all of them. They actually asked Don King, well, Don King, why did you rob Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson? He said, because when they came to me, they were poor. And I thought, what a wonderful opportunity that I could make them so much money so that I could rob them of all of it. That's what he literally said this, BBO. That is
He
insane.
said that, but he was joking. He was joking.
No,
I
no,
don't
he
know his
definitely
tongue
was
was serious.
serious. No, he
He was
definitely was
serious.
serious.
He was serious. Don King been serious.
BBO, you know how I know you full of crap? You said that Don King wanted Muhammad Ali to win. If you go back and listen to that fight, like
Thank
after the
you.
fight, he thought Muhammad Ali put him on blast that he thought that he was gonna lose the fight. I know you got him picked, Don. I know that's your man. And Don King definitely thought George Foreman was gonna whoop him.
Listen to what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Listen to what
Oh,
I'm saying.
hold up. I ain't finished. Hold up, I
Oh,
ain't finished. Then you go look at after the fight when Muhammad Ali whispered in his ear. I guarantee he was whispering some words I can't say on your show.
yeah.
wow.
Let me tell you the story, man. Let me tell you the story.
Ali didn't like
When they
Don
fought,
King.
when they fought in Zaire, the deal was $5 million for Foreman, $5
Yeah,
million for Ali. When Don King came to the dressing room after the fight, he had a check in his hand. The check was for $2 million.
mm.
Muhammad Ali looked at the check, gave it back to Don King, said, "You can keep that. I'm on my way back to LA. When I get back, you better have my $5 million, or somebody gonna come see you." And when Ali
that's,
got back home 2 weeks later, Don King gave him that $5 million.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
right.
But Don was just
Hey,
messing
hold on,
around.
hold on,
People got
hold
to
on.
stop
Let
this
me ask
game.
Mr. Sheldon a question. Mr. Sheldon, do you think Don King was a good man, or have you heard the stories? You old enough to know the stories about Don King. BBO always saying our beloved brother.
Don King was a terrible human being.
Oh my
Don King
God!
was a
Okay,
Thank
gangster.
we're
you,
not gonna do this, man. We're not gonna do
thank
this,
you.
man.
Don King was a
We're not gonna
gangster.
do it, man.
He
We're
was
not
a
gonna do
gangster.
it.
That's what he was. He was
He never
mobbed
was
up.
a gangster. He never was a
He
gangster.
was
He was a
mobbed
family
up.
man.
He was a
Hold on,
gangster.
BBO.
Come on, bro. You weren't even born, bro. You don't know nothing about Don King. Don King was
I didn't
mobbed
been.
up.
I didn't met Carl
He
King,
was a
and I met
gangster.
Carl.
Hold up. Carl King
How
ain't
can you
Don King.
met him?
Let the man talk.
Go ahead.
He was mobbed up. He was a gangster. Don King used to promote Larry Holmes. In 1977, Larry Holmes fought 7 times. Do you know how much money Larry Holmes made in 7 fights?
No, how much?
He
How
made
much?
$700.
What?
$700. Read his book. It's in there.
The book was all
Don King
lies,
was a
man.
gangster. Don King was a gangster. Don King was mobbed up. But the reason he couldn't do that type of stuff to Ali, because Ali had the nation behind.
Right.
That's the only thing that saved Ali.
Something's wrong anytime Mike Tyson chasing you around a limo, putting hands and feet on you. You know
That's
something
why
ain't right.
Mike Tyson kicked him in his head and beat him up over that money.
Yeah,
He
right.
Now
stole.
watch BBO try
Don
to
King was not
justify
a
it.
very nice guy. Don King was not a very nice guy. Now, were the people he dealing with uneducated? Sure.
Right.
Still didn't mean Don King should have took advantage of him, but he did that. He did that. That can't be erased. Now, what he's done since he got older and got kicked out of boxing, because what everybody decided to do is start. You know who it started with, right? It
Who was the
started with Larry
Bernard?
Holmes.
Larry Holmes.
It started
Okay.
with Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes said, the only way I can get away from this dude, I got to win all the belts. So Larry Holmes went and won all the belts. Now, you can't tell me nothing. I got all the belts. That's the only way you get away from Don King, because Don King controlled boxing.
Yeah, he
He
did.
controlled boxing.
And it's the thing that I think Grandpa Shelton is missing, because of course he's taking it. You know, he's making it. He's saying these crazy things about Don, which we never known to be true.
What?
Don was one of the first guys that you seen actually put on big time boxing, made it free. People don't remember. You used to have to pay for boxing. Don, when they used to have that closed circuit television, he was one of those people who opened it up to the world. Don King
You had
helped
to
get
pay,
what you call.
bro.
Hold on,
You
let me
had to
finish.
pay, bro. You had to pay $29.99 for the on TV box, TVKO. You had to pay for that. That
Yeah.
wasn't free.
Thank
Stop
you.
it with the lies,
BBO.
man.
They said Don King is the first dude that had the loaded dice. That's how crooked he is.
You said. He said, You know what's funny about Don that people don't want to give him credit for? Don got robbed. Herbert Muhammad and Muhammad Ali tried to rob Don King. People don't
What?
remember, but who gave
They
Don
didn't
King?
rob him.
They
They didn't
did try
rob
to
him. Stop
rob him.
lying. You lying
No, you
again. They
stop
didn't
lying. They
rob
tried to
Don
take
King.
his $100,000. Let me finish.
Don King owed that man $5 million, and they
Listen,
made
I'm
sure that
talking about
man got his
before they made the
$5 million.
fight. Because you missing the fact that Don King made all those deposits that he had to make up front for Muhammad Ali to even
That's
get
on Don
Muhammad Ali on the
King.
plane.
That's on Don King. That's called being a promoter, BBO.
Didn't he
That's called being
guarantee
a
him $5
promoter.
million? Bro, how you gonna guarantee $5 million and not pay him?
Because
He
he got
did pay
10
him.
million from the African dictator over there. Because he got the money from the African dictator over there in Zaire. That's how I
Yes.
can guarantee the 5 million.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm telling BBO, how you gonna guarantee somebody some money and then try to give them less than what you guaranteed them?
Right.
If I made a little bit less than I thought, we got bills, baby. That's just what it is. We got bills.
Man, you got to be
But
crazy.
Well, obviously,
Who took
if
the
you read the
punches?
book, obviously,
hold on. But let me
Muhammad
but
Ali
let me
didn't care
let me
nothing
say
about
this
that.
because
Muhammad Ali didn't care
my
nothing about
bad.
that.
Hold on.
Give me my
Because y'all
$5
hold
million.
on, listen. We're gonna talk one at a time on here because you guys making me lose my train of thought. So people don't remember when Muhammad Ali went broke. He would come over Don King's house, and Don King would play something called the excavator, and he would let
That's a
Muhammad Ali
lie.
put his
That's a
hand.
lie. That's a lie.
That's
The
not
only person
lie.
that gave
Carl
Muhammad
told me that
Ali
was
money,
real. Carl
the
told me
only
that was real.
person that gave Muhammad Ali money was Joe Frazier, bro. Cut
It's
the
not
lies,
true.
man. Cut the lie.
It's not true.
Joe
It's not
Frazier gave
true,
him money.
man.
Don King wasn't even
But
the
he
fighting
wasn't.
Zaire is the what
Don
put him
King
on the
was
map.
in
What are you
prison.
talking
I'm
about?
talking about whenever he need when Muhammad Ali needed money,
Don
he
King
would
was in
always come.
prison in 1970, bro. He
Yeah,
wasn't even out.
Listen, let me pull
He was in
it up.
prison.
Sheldon's right, bro. BBO, you gotta stop listening to the liars, brother.
Hold on 1 second, man. Hold on 1 second. I can't y'all keep
Don
grandstanding while
King
I'm
was in
trying to
prison
talk,
in
man.
1970.
I'm gonna start. Hold on. I'm gonna start muting y'all niggas, man, because y'all not letting me finish, man. Go ahead, D Free. What you got for us, man? We got these coon cats up here talking about Don King like this. What you got?
I look at Don King as an opportunist. If there's an opportunity for him to get over, he get over. He's an opportunist, like most promoters are anyway. Most promoters are opportunists. If they can get over, they will. And I look at Don King the same way. Don King found a way to be able to get over. He did. I mean, you can't have everybody tell the same story and they all lie. I can understand one or two, but if everybody's telling the same story, they all not lying.
Facts.
I mean, it is what it is. It's nothing. I mean, the man did what he did, and I mean, he still, according to you, BBR. I don't know the man personally, but according to you, he still could be a great family man and still be crooked. Shoot, daggone Rayford Evans was a great family man, but the man was a criminal.
Yeah.
He still was a great family man. He took care of his family, but he was a criminal.
Give
So was Tony Accardo. Tony
some.
Accardo was a great family man. He's still a mob
Hold on, y'all
boss.
brothers talking amongst yourselves. Let me get this clip up because I'm about to shut this coonery down. Y'all not gonna talk
Man, ain't
about
no
Don
cool.
King, man.
Sammy the Bull was a family man.
I don't want to hear about no rats. I'm talking about a real man, a real stand-up brother like Don King. Hold on 1 second. Y'all
Man,
talk amongst yourselves. I'm
only
coming
thing,
back with some facts for y'all
hey
because y'all
BBO,
talking too crazy.
the only thing standing up about Don King is his
Just no
hair.
cussing, please. Hold on 1 second.
Only
Just
thing
no
standing
cussing.
up
1
about
second. I'll be
Don
right
King
back.
is his afro. That's about it. Don King was a
That's
piece of
it.
trash.
Hey, like I
Oh,
said,
that's
I
crazy.
don't know the man personally. I just know of the story, and like I said, everybody can't be telling the same story and they all lying because everybody had their own situation and it all ended up the same way. Don King cheated them out of some money, so I can't say all of them are lying. I can see if it was one or two, and I'm like, maybe he misunderstood or he didn't pay attention to his contract or whatever. But when you have 20 and 30 people saying the same thing and it's all different situations, but it all ended up with Don King cheating them out of money, they all can't be lying.
Right. Man, you 100% right.
What's going
Well,
on, Prize?
what up, though?
I'm just running down through here on looking up Wikipedia and what they got to say about Don King. That man had more dealings with the mafia than anybody I ever seen.
I think Big Don caught the bad end of the stick because Bob Arum did the same thing, but times 10. He
But
did
yeah,
nothing the same.
we ain't
And
we
they
ain't saying
love
No,
we ain't
that's
Bob.
not
saying
true. If you have never heard anybody say Don King didn't, Bob Arum didn't pay me. You have never heard anybody say Bob Arum cheated me. Now Bob Arum was not going to overpay you, but you were going to get paid.
yeah.
Man, I'm not trying to hear
Yeah,
that.
Bob Arm never cheated nobody out of their money. Now he might have
Yeah, he did.
you might have
He
signed a
underpaid
contract.
people. All right, okay, that's cheating.
No, that's
But
not.
if you
You sign a contract to a certain agreement.
yeah,
Your lawyer or your manager, whoever you had
Because
read
you were
over that.
desperate for it, you might have needed that little 200,000 real quick. You feel
But
me?
that doesn't mean that you was
You
cheated.
got
That means
cooked.
that doesn't
And that
mean
don't
that you
mean
was
Don
cheated.
had the right to steal it. And that don't mean
Yeah,
Don had the right to steal it.
Don ain't still.
no,
huh?
Charging Mike Tyson $3,000 a week for towels
And
ain't
man,
stealing.
like Free just said, if you sign the
no,
contract,
no, no,
then you
no.
know.
No,
Mike
no,
Tyson
no. He
didn't
was
sign no
stealing
contract.
pride. Pride. He
Mike
was
All
Tyson
right,
didn't
hold
stealing.
on.
sign
I'm
no.
trolling. I'm trolling. I had
Yeah,
y'all
Okay.
rolling on the ropes. I had
he
y'all
ain't,
niggas
he
on the
ain't signed no
ropes.
contract for that. What I'm saying is, when you sign a contract, you have the opportunity to read it and agree to it. If you read it and you agree to it, that's your fault. That's not on Bob Burnham. He gave you a contract to read. It's the same thing with when you doing contracts in the real world. When you do a contract, you have the opportunity to read over it. Once you agree to it and you signed it, you held to that contract. Now, if you felt like that, I should have got more. Well, you signed a contract for you not to get more. You signed a contract to get this amount, or you signed a contract to make up to this amount. That's what you signed the contract for.
Hey,
Hey,
free.
Free, just
Go
like
ahead. Go.
Floyd had to honor that contract he had with Jay Prince, right?
Yeah,
Hey,
boy,
hey. Listen,
Exactly.
chill, y'all. Check this out right here. In 1996, Terry Noah sued King, alleging that King had stolen money from Him and conspired with manager to underpay him for fights. The case went to trial, but King settled out of court for 7.5 million. He
Mm.
settled then. He also settled out of court with Mike Tyson for 14 million. I'm going through this list of people and I'm looking, and there's a whole lot of settlements out of court from Don King for stealing money.
I mean, I don't think that's called stealing money. I think that's just doing business. If you don't know your business, then you might get cooked.
Well, a
No, no,
lot
no,
of them ain't.
no. It's called stealing money because if you go to court and
Well,
you
okay.
and
And
he
you lose the
settled
settlement. You're right.
he's no Don King settled.
Yeah, right. You're
Don
right.
King settled. So he didn't make it to court because he knew he would have owed a lot more. Usually when people settle out of court is because they know they could
It's
lose a
cheaper.
lot more. They know
It's
they could lose
cheaper
a
to
lot more.
settle.
Right. So
Yeah,
they would
man. So he
settle
could
out
have.
of court
All right.
so
So
they
Hey,
he
could
just
lose a
hey,
kept
lot
the.
more.
So Big Don just kept the money in the
yeah,
safekeeping. So when you're
hey,
ready for it, just go to court and let him know, and his
hey,
people can
Prime,
contact his people.
hey, Prime, check this out, y'all. HBO paid King 1.7 for Weatherspoon to fight Frank Bruno. Weatherspoon got a
Mm,
purse of 500,000, but
mm,
received only 90,000 after King's deductions.
mm.
Oh, we
I mean
got a lot of
that's great business.
got a lot of
Yeah,
lies coming on. So I wanted to clear up some of the
ain't no
lies,
lies,
man.
ain't no lies right
We had
there.
some
Yeah,
Them ain't
get
no
brothers
him
up here
lies.
BVO.
lying.
Get him BVO.
I'm gonna play some. I'm gonna play some up. This is the kind of men y'all talking about. One of the kindest men you ever can meet.
If I steal 500 million, I'd be kind too.
You go, you go, piece of work, CDK. Hey, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, man. Do you? And it's the truth, man. Do you trust Satan?
What?
Do you trust Satan? I'm asking the question.
Hell no, I
I
don't
trust
trust
Satan
Satan.
farther than I trust God.
Well,
Okay.
here you go. But this is my thing. A lot of these satanic people who said this stuff about Don, it's not true, man. It's just not true.
BBO, can you ask me one question
But
though?
I'm gonna
If
play
it,
this real quick. I want to play Don's
okay, go
tribute
ahead.
to the great
Hold on.
George Foreman. Hold on one second.
Are you comparing Don King to
I've just received the word that my dear friend, George Foreman, the Iron Man, the heavyweight champion of the world, has passed. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. George Foreman was a wonderful man, a great human being who was imaginative and initiative, and he believed in himself. So what he, coming from the underprivileged, the downtrodden, the poor and denied, made his dream come true by working dedicatedly and relentlessly toward pursuing that dream to bring it into a living reality. And so he's an inspiration to all the youth that's come behind him and the generations to come, that you can be what you want to be if you have faith in God and you work at what you're trying to be as just as though it's happening, and it will happen for you. So I'm just happy that I was a part of the dream, and that George has left his house here on earth and moved to his house in heaven, while his body we will mourn here on earth. I want to celebrate George's life in spirit, which lives on. So, George Foreman, keep a light on in the window. I'll be there. See you soon. But I love you, man, and I love what you represent, the love of the people. And the people are the most important. God bless you. God bless you being here on earth. And your spirit continue to be a guideline to the future for the children that come behind you, with the inspiration, the motivation, the initiative to believe and have faith that they can make it happen and take that faith with God. Thank you so much, George, for being George. Thank you. God bless you.
So shout out to
Hey,
Don. Always a
hey,
class act.
shout out to Don Monkey. Hold on. Hey, BBO.
No.
Hold on for 1 second. BBO, do you know what Carl King live at?
Where?
I don't know, but somebody need to take that pill to the 357, go out there by his house and hit him upside his head with it. I just read the Carl King, Don's son,
Mm-hmm.
stole 50% of Weatherspoon purse. Man, listen, The daddy and the son is just alike, and he ain't got to worry about Big George keeping on that light because he going in the opposite direction.
I think y'all being a little too rough
Yeah,
on
y'all
the black
sick, man. And you
businessman.
know what? And you know what's so funny?
On the
When I get
black
Uncle Carl, when
businessman.
Uncle Carl get back from Miami and he come on the show, I'm gonna let him know you said all this crazy stuff about
I
him.
tell him to
When he
I
come,
tell him to his face.
hold on, we're not gonna disrespect our guest, and we gonna.
You just said you gonna tell him, and if he asks me, I'm gonna say, yeah, I said that, and so did Wikipedia.
I don't care about no
So you
Wikipedia. It's
believe
not
the
real.
devil's news? Okay,
Listen,
that's
man,
fine.
y'all can
Wikipedia
ride,
ain't
you can
accurate,
ride in that
man.
car,
We
y'all
talking
can
about
ride
the
in that car,
black
you can ride
businessman,
with him, Pride.
CDK.
You can
He
jump in
was a
that car
man
with him and
trying to
ride.
feed his family.
Hey, man, Pride. I like to feed my family too. And once upon a time, I used to steal. I can admit it. Can Don?
Yeah.
Hey, somebody in the chat said something that was very profound.
What's that?
BVO asked earlier. He said, do you trust Satan?" Just like the man said in the chat. Yeah, I trust Satan to be Satan, and I trust
Right.
Don King to be Don King.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Hey man,
Life is
y'all
shot.
brothers is about y'all brothers worth
Y'all
two flies
brothers is
smash, man.
wild
Y'all
in the
brothers is
chat.
crazy. I'm just
Man,
shocked. I'm shocked that y'all would say this kind of stuff about Don King, American hero, man. But
Right. That's
he,
crazy to me, BV. I don't understand what these
I
brothers.
like
I
the
mean, I
one
don't
thing
know.
I did love about Don King. I did love about Don King is you gonna get a stacked card messing with Don King. He gonna
But
have
why
yeah.
you
every
hating
husband
on
he
the
got
black
fighting on that
businessman?
card.
Why y'all pocket watching about? Oh, he stole towels and do. Who cares? Didn't he
I
give you the
don't care
best
nothing about
fights?
that
But y'all just
because I
said y'all
work for
cared,
this.
didn't they?
You
Y'all
know
hated
why?
him.
Let me
Y'all
tell you
just
why.
read a
Let me
bunch
tell
of
you why.
stuff about
Let me
him.
tell you why. Let me tell
So
you
man,
why.
make y'all
The
mind
reason I have
up.
a problem with that.
You like
The
him
reason
or
I have a
not?
problem with that.
I
Listen to what
don't
I'm
like nothing
saying.
about it.
The reason I have a problem with that is because I was in the union for 27 years and I worked for
I've
all
been
my
in
money.
25 and I'm
And the
still
worst
there. Keep
thing,
going.
and the worst thing can happen is for you to work for your money and somebody steal it. Or you go to
You
work on Friday to pick up that paycheck and it ain't this.
thank you.
There's no
That's
union
the
in
worst thing that can
boxing.
happen to you.
I'm a union man for
That happens to
25
them
years
people in that
myself.
happens to them people in boxing. If you sign a contract for
All
five
right,
hundred thousand
the
and
union
all
not
you
gonna
get
sign a
is
contract
90,
that say that can happen.
Y'all can't talk at the same time.
if you sign a contract for 500,000 and all you get is 90,000, you gonna be cool with that?
No, but I'm gonna know when I go sign my contract to have my pop or somebody that know this literature. If I don't know it, and then I'm gonna know that these towels
Prize.
cost
What
five
you
thousand
prize?
dollars.
Prize.
Y'all
What you're
wild.
missing? What you're missing is prize. There was no literature. See, now you gonna keep it 100.
Okay,
We're gonna keep it.
that's not Big Don's fault.
No, that is Big Don's
It is
fault.
Big Don's fault.
I
Because
don't know
Big
what you're
Don
trying to
said
stand
Big
on,
Don would tell
but
them
the
dudes
one
back
thing
in the
about
day.
me, let me tell you something. I don't stand on no bullshit. I don't care who it is, and I'm gonna keep it real. Uh, Don King was stealing from these
Big,
people. I don't care what nobody say. It is what it is. He done what he done. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got to
But
answer.
okay, but even if he was doing that, right? But didn't he give you the
right.
best fights though? In them fights, but one of them fights just like amazing. Like he did an all black,
That
he
still
did an
don't take
all
away
black
from the
card in
fact that he was
Africa.
evil.
I ain't see Bob Man
That's,
running doing nothing like that.
that still don't take away
Baba,
the fact that he was a piece of trash. That don't take away
yeah.
that fact.
I'm not. I don't say he's a piece of trash. I don't know him. How am I gonna say he's a piece of trash? I don't know him in real life. I don't know him in real
I gotta
life.
know him. I'm looking at his actions. See, that's the
Well, you
whole
know, a
thing.
lot of people
You
make
believe
actions.
half of what you see. You don't listen to nothing that you hear about nobody. You watch how they move, and that'll tell you who they are. His actions show me he's a piece of
Yep.
trash.
His actions show me he's a black businessman from the city and trying to feed his family. And if you don't know what you're doing, you run with me, run from me, or get run over. So I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. But hey, I'm just playing
And if
devil's
you live,
advocate.
and if you live your life like that, Pride, you ain't gonna live long. Somebody gonna kill your ass.
Surely is. Real quick.
And not me personally, but yeah, I feel
See,
you.
do that to
You know what
somebody
I'm
and
saying?
see what
Yeah. I
happens.
ain't talking about you, I'm saying, because you don't live like
Yeah,
that. But if you living like
that'll
that,
get you done up though.
That will get you done up real quick. Play with
Yeah.
somebody money.
what happened to BVO? BVO always jumping ship. He always
They
started the
couldn't do
show,
nothing to
then take
Don because
off.
Don was mobbed
Yeah,
up.
right, JG. Right, JG. The block boys. I'm not gonna say exactly what you said, but the block boys give out turkeys, Christmases. They'll fill the block with toys for all the kids on the block. It's the same thing.
Listen, man, JG know me well, and he know my background, and he know I don't play no games. I don't give a damn what the block boys do. I was a block boy. it was wrong.
Did you? What was it wrong when them kids? When you made them kids happy?
Man,
Was
I
that
still
wrong?
was doing wrong. If I'm
Okay,
making the
but
kids,
no, but
let
was
me real
it?
quick. Hold on, Brian. I'm
But
gonna break it
that's
down to
just
you.
like
I'm gonna break it
giving us
down
the
to you.
best
Hold on. I'm
fights.
gonna give it to you raw and uncut.
Okay.
If I'm giving the kids toys but selling their mama crack, yeah, it was wrong. I'm the reason they ain't got the toys in the first place. Their mama can't give it to them.
Because I'm buying the toys with their mama money.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's wrong.
that's a real deal. But I know, but see, I can't. I don't want to do this because I'm not gonna do that.
You
You
I'm
can't
understand?
because it don't make no goddamn sense.
no, I can
So
make some
don't.
sense. I'm just not gonna do that. I'm not gonna show my rear end on camera today.
It ain't no reason to. We don't
I'm
know.
not.
We just going off of what you know. What has happened with Don King?
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
Don King is a businessman,
I ain't,
and
he's a businessman, but there's plenty of crooked businessmen, right? I mean, that's plain and simple. He's a businessman. He definitely is. I can't take that from him. He's a businessman. He's just a crooked one.
I think y'all being a little too tough on
All of
Big
them
Don.
is crooked. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you another
Yeah,
story. You know, Marvin
Right.
Hagler
So
was 48-2. Marvin Hagler was 48-2 when he got his first title shot. You know that?
yeah,
yeah,
100.
You know
percent
why he got the title shot?
Educate the people.
Because Ted Kennedy was the senator from Massachusetts. Ted Kennedy told Bob Arum, this man has beaten everybody in the middleweight division and still hasn't gotten a title shot. So this is what's going to happen. You're going to get that man a title shot, or the Senate is going to hold a subcommittee and look into your books.
mm.
That's
He
how
got it
Marvin Hagler got
together.
his first title shot.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Shout
and
out
that's
to
crazy
Marvin's
though to
son.
think that somebody had to go 48-2 or whatever, and not get a title shot,
Man, young boys ain't want to
That's how
see
it was
Marvin
back
beat
then.
their boy. I mean,
not have
ain't
a
nothing
title
else to
shot.
say.
Joe Frazier told Marvin Hagler asked Joe Frazier, how come I can't get a title shot? Joe Frazier told him, there's 3 reasons why. You're a southpaw, you're black, and you're good.
Yeah, he told the truth.
I still think y'all being a little too rough on Big Don, though, man. I think Big Don is the man.
He was a
I
piece of
grew up.
trash, bro.
Hold on,
He was
can
a
I
piece of
finish?
trash.
Now, can I finish? I grew up with Big Don. And as a kid growing up in the 80s, all I know is, see, I didn't know about no business and all that stuff because I was a kid. I didn't give a damn about none of that. All I knew is I saw Don King up there every time with the best fights. And as a kid like me growing up, who cares? Who's pocket watching? Now, as I'm an adult, I can say, damn, that was crazy, Don. But at the end of the day, I don't care about none of that because I'm a fight fan. I just want to see the fights. And
Yeah,
if they can get $1 million or $90,000, that's on them. I don't care about none of that. I don't care how much LeBron or Kobe made or Michael Jordan made. It's intriguing or it's inspiring also when you hear it, but I don't care about what they pockets is. Did they play the game? Did they
it's
fight?
cool. It's
Did they
cool.
play
It's
the
cool.
Did they play the football game? Did they do that?
Hey, Brian, all that sounds good until somebody can't feed their family because you were stealing from them. You see what I'm saying? All that sounds good, well, fine and dandy. At the end of the day, it ain't pocket watching. I'm saying the man was a crook. I don't know how much he took here and there, but he was a crook.
I don't know, man.
Mm.
Maybe that's just the business of
And just because
boxing.
you
It's a
admired him
business
as a
of
kid,
boxing.
don't make it go away. Just because you
The
admired him as a
business
kid,
of
don't make
boxing
that
is
go
the
away.
business of boxing, and I think that y'all brothers
Hey,
are being
B.
a little too harsh on Big Don.
Okay.
Where's that energy at with Bob Arum? He's pretty
I
damn
None.
got it.
shitty.
I don't
It's
care nothing
none.
about Don Barham
Tell
or
me,
Don
Bob
King. I
Aaron.
don't care
Yeah.
about neither one of them. I
Nope.
don't care
Bob
about
Arum
neither
is
one of them.
he's pretty damn savage, bro.
They all savage.
I
Right.
don't care about
So
neither one of them. We just
let's
having a
not
conversation,
slaughter
bro.
Don King when they're
Bro,
all the same.
Don
I'm
King
slaughtering
slaughtered
Don. We
himself.
not really
He
slaughtering
didn't do
Don
that to
King.
Don.
Nobody put on better fights than Don
He
King.
didn't do that to Don. Don did that to himself. All this shit is
Nobody
Yeah.
put on
documented.
better
He didn't
fights
do that
than
to
Don.
Don. Nobody's arguing that.
Okay,
Nobody's
that's
Nope.
all
arguing that.
that we supposed to care about.
Bro, we
Supposedly.
talking boxing. We talking
That
everything.
wasn't the
So,
conversation, bro. The
yeah, the
conversation was
conversation,
Don King a good man? And the answer
Uh,
is no.
I would say
no.
yes. Absolutely, yes. You know how many people he
Then you're
finally fed in
entitled to
his
your
family?
opinion.
You know how
Yeah.
many
You're
people he
entitled
finally
to
fed
your
in his
opinion.
family? Y'all boys is
You're
wild.
entitled to your opinion, but your
Right,
opinion
no
doesn't
doubt.
change my opinion.
No, that's cool. I'm not trying to persuade you either, bro, brother. Not at all. And CDK, no, I'm not trying to change his opinion because when CDK is stuck on his opinion, there's nothing you can do. You fried.
Yeah, but I'm not.
You're
I'm
cooked.
yeah, I'm not tripping on. Everybody got their opinion. We know what's good and what's
Exactly.
bad. We
And
know what's right and we know what's wrong. So
y'all two
I say
brothers
this.
think that he's not a good man, and the
No,
other
I'm
and
not
the
saying. Listen, I don't know about him personally as far as his family life. I'm talking about business wise. He don't do good business. So that right there can be proven. See,
he's
that's something you
he
can't
don't do
argue
good
about.
business. It's according to who?
According to everybody that sued him and got paid.
No,
What you mean? You want me to go down the list again? I can name 10 people. I'm
nah,
looking
you
at
get
them.
all right, and they got paid. He might have forgot some things. You
Man,
know
nah, he
money
didn't
moves
forget
slow.
nothing. They telling you right here. Give
Sometimes
you
He
it might
paid,
take you a
bro,
couple
man.
extra months to cut a check. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Due
he
Extra
took
diligence,
the
months. You
baby.
he took
talking
the
about
judge.
years down the line when people are
Hey, look,
starving and getting kicked out of
in
their apartments.
construction,
Come on, man.
It took the
we own
judge
our
to make him
own
cut a check.
construction company, right? Them people held our money for like, man. Now I know it's not compared to the years that he might have held, or
Right.
however when he got sued. I know it's, but it's still the same kind of game. They're not allowed to, but they can hold on to your money legally. And a lot of people will talk about a bunch of business, but they don't really know about business because they never really
Well, let
done
me
no
tell you
business.
how it
Let me
works
ask you
out
this,
here. I don't
right?
know what
Let me ask you.
union. I don't know what union you in, but let me tell you how it works out here.
542 operators.
By the
542
bylaws of the
operators.
carpenters union, by the
Mhm.
carpenters union, local 209,
Okay.
the bylaws, the Southwest Regional Council of Carpenters.
hmm
You're
hmm
supposed to be paid once a week.
hmm
If you don't have that check in your hand or in your bank account by Friday morning, they
hmm
have to
Got a
pay
business
you
agent down
a
there.
day's Friday morning. By Friday morning, they have
hmm
to pay you a day's wages every day that they're late.
That's
So if you
how
don't
we
get
are.
paid on Saturday, you don't
hmm
get paid on Sunday.
Double time on
On Monday,
Sundays.
if you get paid, no, if you when you get paid, you're gonna get your 40 hours for the previous week, and you're gonna get time and a half for Saturday, you're gonna get
hmm
double time for Sunday, and you're
And
gonna get
any
paid for
other
every
day.
hour Monday until you get your money. That's how it
hmm
works.
But that's construction. This is boxing. That's the difference.
Well, let me ask you a
Boxing is
question.
a
And
Let me
that's
ask
wild,
all
wild
why,
west.
y'all. Hold
and
on, hold
that's
on.
We're
This
why,
question for
yo
I
everybody.
look,
have a
Sheldon,
problem.
look. We're
Hey,
That's
protected.
why I
y'all.
have a problem with people stealing money.
We're
That's why I
protected
have a
by the
problem with people.
union. If the
Exactly.
contractor doesn't have our check, I get paid on Wednesdays. But if the contractor doesn't have our check on Friday, let's just use Friday. If they don't have our check on Friday, and you be like, "Yo, I ain't get paid," then you can proceed to do what you just said. Boxing is not protected like that. Ain't no union.
No.
No boys
Let me ask
not.
you.
No boys
Let me ask y'all a
scabs.
question.
No boys is
Because
scabs, and you know
let me
that.
ask y'all. Let me ask y'all a question. This is a hypothetical question. Prize, if somebody give me 500,000 to give you,
hmm
and I tell you it's 75,000, and that's all they gave me, is that stealing? I want a real
I
now.
mean,
I want a man answer. No bullshit.
no.
A
If we
man
talking,
answer.
what we talking about though? We talking about the
I'm
streets.
asking you if
We
somebody
talking
give
about
me
boxing.
500. Hold on. This is what I'm saying. Cause I'm gonna
hmm
see where your mind is and where you really at. If
hmm
somebody give me
Get
five
on
hundred
it.
thousand,
Get on
if
Uh,
it.
somebody give me 500,000 to give
right.
to you, and I only give you 75,000 and tell
Now
you
come
that's
on
all they
now,
gave
CDK.
me,
That's a crazy question. Now you know I would be tripping.
okay. Now think about this, right?
But did I
That's what
sign
he.
any contracts with you? Or we
No,
just
no.
talking about
Listen,
street shit?
yeah, I'm
That's
talking
what I'm
about no.
saying.
They coming through me. You trusting me to do your business. I'm talking about to do your business, do your willing and dealing to make sure you get your best deal and everything. And when I
Okay.
come to you, they gave me 500,000 prize, and I holler out, man, they didn't give me but 75. That's all I can
Then you
get you.
cooked me. Then no, use the snake. Then you cooked me.
That's what Don King was doing.
But Don King had contracts and stuff written
That's
up.
what I'm
That's why I
saying.
asked you the question.
No. That's in the contract. This is what he was doing.
No,
I'm
I'm
reading.
asking you that scenario you put me in. Did you draw up a contract for me?
Yeah, listen. That's what I'm
If you
gonna tell
draw up a
you. I'm
contract
gonna
for
tell
me,
you.
I'm smart enough to know to get my,
Oh, let me
especially my.
finish
No,
real
no,
quick.
listen. Here you go now. Here you go. This is the contract. The
Mhm.
money come from the company, the TV company, right? They tell me what to give you. But when I draw the contract up, it's not what they told me to give you. You see the game in that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not
that
stupid. Yeah,
that's what he was doing. So that's why I'm saying that was bad business. I can't call him a bad family man, but I'm gonna say,
but you see,
hey,
you can't do that to me. You can't say a network or a construction company or anything has $500,000 for me. If they got it for me in the contract, there is no way in hell you're going to bring me back $75,000. But I'm
Listen,
smart enough to know that be like, let me get a lawyer to just kind of look at this, and they can be like,
right.
hey, Prize, they charging you for this, that, this, you can save a little bit. Won't you
Most
save
of
Hey,
them
$75?
dudes fighting
Prime.
in the 70s, prize. The dudes fighting in the 70s couldn't even spell lawyer, let alone have
Yeah,
one.
Well, see,
yeah,
then it all goes according to who's the smartest. Business is
yeah,
business, and in business, you will get your throat cut, you will get your back stepped on. Now, I wouldn't do that to the people I rock with. Now, I won't do
yeah.
that. I'm not gonna get up here and do something crazy to BVO, knowing there's a YouTube deal or something on the table. I
Right.
can't go without BVO and Free and the brothers and CDK and TD and all of the brothers. I can't go nowhere because I know what I'm gonna do.
If you was Don, you could, because he did it repeatedly.
But I bet you them brothers gonna know their paperwork, and I won't be able to run off with no 500,000 if they say, "Hey, Prize, we give your boys 500,000. Now give BBO 100, give CDK 100, give Free 100," and I come back and be like, "Hey, man, I got 30,000 split between all of us, fellas." Man, ain't no way in
That's
the
Don.
world I would be able to get that off from them brothers.
Why you keep
That's
saying
Don.
that's Don?
That's Don.
That's done. That's done.
No,
That's
that's
Hey,
Don.
that's that's somebody not knowing. That's not Don fault. Nobody, they not
but
educated and
but
smart as
but
he
Prime,
is.
but Prime, think
I'm
about this
tripping.
though. You trusting that this man, he's your promoter. He's
Didn't he
supposed to
pay
have
some of
your
them?
yeah, he paid all
Some of
of them
them
in
made
full.
rich. Some of them got rich off of Don King.
No,
It
listen
ain't they
though.
fault they spent their money here buying Cadillacs and
Who
gold
got rich
cups
off
and
of
No,
Don
gold
no,
King?
chains.
no.
Who?
What
Who
who?
got rich off of Don King?
Larry
Who?
Holmes?
What?
Larry
Larry
Holmes?
Holmes Larry Holmes didn't get rich till he left Don King. Let's
Yeah.
get it right.
How much money did that fight in Zaire generate? Y'all boys is crazy.
Ali don't care. Ali got 5 million
I'm
of it.
not
That's all he
talking
cared
about
about.
if you care or not. How did it generate? See,
I
that's what
don't
y'all do.
He got
Prime.
the money from the dictator that was running
Yeah.
Zaire at
All
the
right, well, he
time.
got the bag. He a hustler. He get the money. He know how to get everybody paid. Everybody should have got one off. I bet you everybody went happy that night. Went home happy that night.
Oh no,
100%.
no, no, no. You didn't hear the story, huh? Read it's in the
No,
book. Read the
he ain't hear
story.
the story.
He came to
Uh,
Ali with $2 million. Ali told him, "You can keep that. I'm going
Yeah.
back to LA. When
All
I
right,
get
cool.
back to LA, you better have my $5 million, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody finna come see you." And when Ali got back to LA, Don King brought him that $5 million.
Right. You gotta know how to do business. That sounds like a bunch of business to me. You ain't got my money when I get back to LA. I'm gonna come see get my money. And what happened? Got a
but you
check.
know what
Y'all
Ali
boys
No,
is
had
what
too.
happened
crazy, man. Y'all
was
boys
Don
wild.
knew the nation was gonna come pay him a visit. That's what Don
Right,
knew.
All right then.
right.
That sound like a bunch of business to me, don't it? Brother,
Cause
you old enough to know that.
Don King is the type. He was a gangster. Now I give
Right.
him that. He
A
was a gangster. What I'm
businessman.
saying, no, he was a gangster. If you didn't have no backing, he was willing to take from you.
Okay.
He knew what was gonna come with Ali. He didn't want them. He didn't want them problems. So a crook is a crook, man. Every day of the
Just like
week.
any other CEO and crook in the world. I've seen them. I know millionaires and they are nasty. They're not nice people. But you know what?
Yeah,
Their
you right
people
about
think,
that.
hold on. They're people that when they go do all that crook stuff, or let's just use Don King. I bet you know one thing. When his family is well taken care of, all of them in school, all of them got nice houses and cars. His people, and then you just got some savages out there like that. You
Yeah,
can't
you're
knock
right.
them. That you can't
I
knock
agree
them and
with
say
you.
that they're a bad person. They trying to they will kill and step on your others for their family. I don't think that's necessarily a bad person.
So far as you telling me a bad person, if I'm willing to step on you, you know what I'm saying, and so you
See, you
can't
doing
feed
that
your
as we
family.
boys. That's different.
No, no,
Like if I
no. I'm
stepped
saying,
on everybody else in the world and I came back and said, CDK, I got 300,000 for you. I got 300,000 for BVO. I got another 300,000 for D Free. You know what I'm saying? What's this for? I don't know. Y'all stepping with me. I'm gangster. This is what I do.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
he didn't
I
do
need
that for
y'all to back
nobody
me up.
though.
And then if we translated the YouTube term, y'all would come get on my live, back me up. We're a crew. We
Yeah,
the STN. We that. I don't
But
step
you
on my
see,
friends, but I will step
no,
on
but I'm smarter
somebody
than
that I
them.
don't know to bring back to the STN. In other words, if you want to break it down in a YouTube term, I'll go step on another channel or step on another channel, get the 10 million and come back and break it down with my crew. Are you crazy? I will kill
But
somebody.
see, but here's
Man,
the
I'm about to
thing
get out
though.
of here.
Here's the
no,
thing. I'm
that's
smarter
crazy.
than that. Is
Yeah,
if you move it in these streets like that, I'm smarter than that. If you out
right.
here scamming and robbing and jacking people for their money, you get the fuck away from me. Get away from me.
Some people don't care about
But I
that. Some
don't want
people
to get
want to
shot.
feed their families.
I ain't trying to
Some
get
people don't
shot
care about
because
none of that.
somebody can
If
kill
I
you.
pulled up to you and said, "Yo, I did this," and I did this in California, and I met you down in Virginia somewhere, and I say, yo, I got this 300K for you. I need to chill at your crib for like a day, and you be like, oh, or I need you
No,
to, man, you gonna, man, come on, man, life
no.
changing money,
I
man.
got
Y'all
a
boys be
family.
talking stuff,
I got a family. I
man. I
got a
do too.
family.
I
No,
do too.
get up out of here. Get up out of
I
here.
do too. And you, my family, you'll never
Get up
be
out
able
of
to
here.
get to them. You won't know where they at. It's
Get
impossible,
up out of here, bro. I'm not messing with you.
man. Come on,
Uh-uh.
man.
I love my life. I can't do shit with 300,000 if
If
I'm
I
dead.
came in, if I came in, okay, let's just do it. Let's not use street term. Let's just say, yeah, man, yeah, I put on a couple boxing cards, you know what I'm saying? But I might have cooked the fighters a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be tripping off that. Ain't no gangster stuff like that
Let me
going
tell you
down, dog.
something, bro. Let me tell
Y'all
you
boys
something. I'm
worried about the
59 years
wrong
old.
thing.
Let me tell you something
Feel
about
like
life.
JG
Let me
said,
tell you
I
something
don't
about
want
life.
it.
I'm 59 years old. Let me tell you something about life. When you do dirt, dirt get done to you.
Man, I done had it done to me. I done did dirt. I don't believe in none of that. That's
All I'm gonna say is this. I'm gonna leave it at this. Most of the people that say that type of stuff or go with that type of way have never had to live that way. So it
mm,
makes a big
mm,
difference when you ain't had to live like that.
mm.
I've
I
been
definitely
in the
do. Me
I've
too.
been in the trenches.
Me
I know
too.
what it is. So
Hmm.
when I'm coming telling you that it ain't right, it ain't right. If I tell you something ain't right, it ain't right.
If Big Don doing boxing business might not be right, but what I'm not talking about street stuff. Like I don't
No,
want to
I'm
be.
talking about in general. It don't matter. Listen, karma gonna catch you one way or another, no matter what it is. Whether
Well,
you in the street doing wrong or whether you at the house doing wrong, it's gonna catch up with you.
don't
It's
Big
simple as
Don,
that.
but don't Big Don look like this? Don't he look like he? How old is Big Don? Like 90? What?
He 90,
93.
might be 96. I don't
Man,
know.
Big Don
93.
look all right. He look all right to me. Like it look
Yeah,
like
yeah,
no
he look
karma
no,
hit him.
yeah,
What
yeah.
karma hit him? He had to
Man,
pay a couple
listen,
$1 million from time to time, but
bro.
that's business
You think karma ain't hit him? You think
for
that?
sure.
First of all, I'm
Everybody,
gonna
we're
give you. I'm gonna
human.
give
It
you
hits
this. We
everybody.
don't
We're
know what's
human.
going on. We don't know what's going on in his household, family. It gotta just be you. Things come in mysterious ways, but they
Right?
already
No,
took
for
him out of
sure.
boxing, right? He's been
All we
somebody like
know is
Don
Don
King.
passing out turkeys on Thanksgiving. That's all we know.
That's
That's
cool.
it.
Big Don is a gangster. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, but see, this was crazy. They hate Big Don, but not y'all brothers on the panel. But people love like what's some damn gangster's name? Damn, it's not
Who?
Scarface, but them type of people in the
I don't
mafia
love none,
movies. Y'all,
bro.
I didn't say. I see. That's why I said not y'all on the panel, but people love them kind of people, but they hate Don King. It's the same thing. Y'all, that's crazy to me. But what do I know? I don't know
I'll
nothing.
just say this, man. One
It's
thing
the
about
same
Don
thing.
King, we know he listened to his parents, man, because the Bible says if you listen to your parents, man, your days should be long upon the earth. So he must have been a great son to his
He's
mother and
90
father.
something. How old is he, BVO? He's still around. They say karma.
93. He's
What karma?
93.
He's still living.
Uh,
If
the
you living,
devil, the devil let his people live too.
I mean,
Keep on talking that junk.
I don't care if he go to heaven or
You
hell. I'm
go,
not. That's
hey,
not up to me.
Hey,
on
no,
that
I'm just
note,
But
saying,
man, we out of here, man. CDK's a nut. That brother said the
nah,
devil
don't do
let his
that. No,
people
nah, that ain't
live.
that. Nah, all right, CDK, go live. We can finish this. Cause I
man,
ain't
I
running.
got
I rock with Big Don. I'm tired of people talking bad about him. I'm
We're gonna
sticking
do a
up.
show
I'm
this
playing.
week on it. We're gonna do a
we'll
I'm
show
do
this
playing
one this
week.
devil's
week.
advocate with Big Don. I don't care.
Keep your
Hey,
eyes open
hey,
tomorrow. We
Prize,
got a
we'll do
great
one
young
this week.
trainer. We
I'm
got
gonna go eat.
Julio
I gotta go eat,
Sanchez,
man.
the junior coming in. He's gonna be talking about his son Julio Sanchez the third. So shout out to Julio Sanchez. He's gonna be here tomorrow. We're gonna be streaming that live, man. Y'all don't want to miss it. Big interview, big interview. I can't wait to get in there and talk to him. We interviewed my man brother Julio Sanchez before. He
Yes,
goes
sir.
by nickname Crowd Jewel, but now that he's back in the corner full time, we're gonna call him his real name, and that's Julio Sanchez Jr. So shout out to him. We see you tomorrow. Appreciate everybody. Shout out to
Salute,
my grandpa,
salute.
my favorite guy, my man Sheldon. Shout out to my guy CDK. Check the BVO and CDK show. We coming soon. Shout out to my right hand man Prize. Go ahead. If you got anything, go ahead.
Nah, I just want to say I was playing devil's advocate, but y'all need to put some respect on Big Don.
Don King hair gets short every year. I put some respect on that.
He's 90 years old. He outlived
Hey,
Foreman.
shout out to Don King, man, for doing what he
Yeah,
done. And no, this we having fun up here, man. It's all fun. But
for
at the
sure.
end of the day, like BBO said, me and his new show coming soon. Y'all look out for that. We finna do our
Mhm.
thing. We got a new formula. We know what it take, and we're about to make it.
No more games, yo. We coming straight up for the title, man. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.